But I went to school, I knew no English because that's all we spoke at home, and my mother's and father's friends did the same thing. But I must say...
And they thought Terry was deaf.
Yeah.
In school, they sent a letter home. She should have her ears checked because they thought she was deaf because they asked her a question she didn't answer. But she didn't understand the English.
Mm-hmm.
And with the English we learned from the kids out in the street, kids we played with.
So how did you finally learn English?
Piece by piece from the kids. One of the kids went to school, she used to say hoxie. That means you have to give her half of what you have or something. If you have a piece of candy, I could share it with her. That's the first, and it wasn't really a word, But then school, little by little, I think, I went to first grade. We had no kindergarten at that time. So they did, but we never went. So, and we were babysat a lot because my mother worked and my father when he could. But they all spoke German too.
Oh, the babysitters.
Yeah.
All your neighbors.
Mm-hmm. And we went to Sunday school, and it was all German until we got to confirmation classes. And then we learned it in English. They had service in English, and then they had a service in German. They had two services, one only.
And same with the Sunday school.
And the same
German
with the
and English. We went to the German Sunday school and German church.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Burgenlander, or was High German?
No, it was High German.
It was High German.
High German. Yeah.
So
we used to sing on the choir.
Mm-hmm.
In German?
Yeah.
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 The other thing was, he always got up for Sunday church. No matter what happened Friday or Saturday, he was up on Sunday and he went to church. He was very active at the church. He was treasurer and vice president and whatever. He taught Sunday school for a while, German Sunday school for a while. But he never missed his church service, so very
And we
faithful.
had to go, if we went out when we got older, and we went out Saturday night and came home at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, if you could go out Saturday night, you got your rear end up and went to church
That's
in
we
the morning.
did. Yep.
And we
that's
lived at 9th, New and Cedar, between 9th and 10th, and the church was down on Ridge Avenue between 2nd and Front Street.
It's
And
quite
we
a walk.
walked down to church
and home.
back to church.
Didn't matter whether it was winter or summer, raining or
we
snowing?
went.
Didn't make any difference.
Yeah, but it was always a nice neighborhood. Then we moved to Railroad Street. That was a lot of German people.
Right.
Before we got a house, we lived with the Bundles. Do you remember Ella Bundle and her brother Walter? They're both gone now. But we lived with them in one room till we moved across the street when the house was available. We just moved and moved and moved, I'd tell you. I don't know if it was raising rent or they thought they were doing a little bit better. But that neighborhood was quite a lot of German, right? The Zodels lived there,
Yeah.
and the Hunsels, of course, and Al Kurtz lived next door. There were a lot of German. Deitches lived right down the street.
And we didn't speak any German, any English in the house.
No, we spoke all
With our
German.
parents, we spoke only German. But once you got outside, then you spoke only English.
Mm-hmm. But my mother had to become a citizen, and she learned English, and they read the newspaper. Well, the best they could, they figured out. But that's how, because you had to be bilingual once you were going for your citizenship papers. So, no, and then we moved to Chew Street, and that was all. Our neighbor, it was one house divided in half. And we were in the front half, and the neighbors in the back was my husband's cousin, as it turned out later. And then my father's cousin, Decker, lived across the street. And that was right down from the Lutheran church, so. And the Strobels were next door, they were German. And Dults were down the street, they were German. And then from there we moved to Cedar Street.
We owned that house then. He bought that house.
Yeah, he bought the house, Pop.
That's the first house we ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So what were the...
Indoor plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
So all the other houses had outdoor
Outdoor.
plumbing?
Oh, yeah,
Had
outdoor.
an outhouse. And Friday nights was bath night.
Mhm.
Or Saturdays. Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday night was bath night. A big galvanized tub. And being I was the youngest, I got the first bath. And then after me, then she went. And then after her, my mom went. And after my mom, my pop went.
All in the same water.
Yeah.
So they had to heat the water on a cold stove. So that's what we did. It
Yeah.
was fine. My
Yeah.
mother had a friend, the Moltzits, who had a
Bathtub.
And one time we got a bath
One
in a
time,
bathtub.
They
Wow.
let us come into their bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we thought we were queen bees.
Yeah. And that was already 1940, whatever. We were there for when the war started, the Second World War.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea of time conception.
But I know because Pop worked at A&B,
Yeah.
and the teachers at school, because he could get things from them, and the others had all rations cards and whatever, but he could bring home lard. And boy, I had so many teachers that were friends of mine that would, well, could your father bring me this? That kind of thing.
Oh, I never heard that.
Oh, I did. And then we were supposed to save cans.
Cans. Uh-huh.
We didn't have any cans.
My mother used to can everything.
Yeah, it was the
straws
last
and whatever.
straws.
So we used to go around in the gutters and whatever and look
If
for
you could
cans.
find cans to take to school
Yeah.
for the war
That
effort.
and then what was those things that you blew it.
Oh, yeah.
We
That's to
tore
make
them up. It
parachutes.
was a plant. Yeah. And we used to save it and
Mm-hmm.
put them in a plastic bag and take them to.
Or I know at school, when I went to Central, they gave us a big, like a burlap bag, and we were to walk up 15th Street, Roth Avenue. It wasn't quite developed then as it is now. But we didn't find any. It was with Warren Jiske and I walked up with this big bag, and we joked and had a good time. Took the bag empty because we couldn't find any.
So, since when did everybody stop talking German? Did the World War II have an effect on that?
No, they still spoke. They have a club. It was called Allgemeiner, altogether, Workmen's Club. And they would meet there, they talked. They didn't do any saluting. They weren't Germans, they were Austrian. Most of the one was at the Lehigh Valley. That was a German club. And you tried not to go there at that time because they did have a lot of people who were sympathetic to the German cause. So, but we rarely went to the Sangerbund. Yes?
We did.
Yeah, but not that Pop would go to any meetings like the men's.
Oh, I don't know what he
No,
did.
they did. His other friend did. They had a shortwave radio, which the government came and took from them, but we didn't have anything like that. And he wasn't, political at all, as far as I know, Pop. Mm-mm.